Hi guys, welcome back to Darish Zone channel. I seem to so retro junkie on live chat. So another meeting with the Commodore Deluxe image 60 gigabyte. Bravo, bravo. And I'm happy tonight because yesterday the live stream was a disaster because I have some issues with the Wi-Fi and the image was not ready for the prime time, but is now, is ready now. Everything is on this right place. I show all the system that will be included on the image. You know, this is all Commodore related image. So let's start with the Amiga. I remind you, this is the third version of my Commodore image. I decided to make this final ultimate version with all the assets I worked even on King's image, and in fact the base is King Light, so it's fast. It has the background music, which is I cannot show you on the live stream, unfortunately, because YouTube not agree with me. And to avoid the copyright problems, I cannot show the background music, but you will see on the upper right side of the screen the track name of the music played, and there's more than 100 of background music inspired by Commodore tunes, so all remixes of Commodore tunes like Parallax, Knucklebuster, and many more, Rambo Commando. Okay, I've decided to add the Cody after we discussed on the server about this thing. I know it's not very related to the image, but I've decided to include Cody with some goodies I will show immediately. You can still delete Cody if you don't want on the image. I think some multimedia feature is not bad. You can play the video, but I've included some goodies on the image, like commercials, old commercials. I there's YouTube is already included, the add-on YouTube is installed, and on favorites you see those two videos, commercials for the Amiga and Commodore 64. I prefer to not show these videos on the live stream because even if very old stuff, I'm afraid there's some copyright related. If you want to see some video or image from these trailers, I will show on my server, my Discord server. You can add the video you want, and you can play the video you want. So Cody is on board, but let's talk to the main stuff, which is the Commodore. So to start, there's a collection of Amiga Classic 30 games I've selected for you. You may not agree with the picks, but this is some Amiga games I like the most. In fact, games that you can play with joysticks without keyboard at all. But the Amiga set is huge. And this is the compilation for the Commodore 64. All compilation on Easy Flash. It's a Flash, Easy Flash format. Is the cartridge format. Is incredible. Some files have up to 60 games, even 200 games, if I'm not wrong. It's around 30 files, but each of these files contains a lot of games, like this Ultimate Plus. It's just a goodie. And the cartridge selection, all cartridge games for the Commodore 64, around 300 of games, all cartridge. So the fast, super fast, no loadings in fact, and no disk swap. There's not a disk swap for every Commodore 64 game, but the cartridge ones are very fast. They start immediately, and there's Batman, Battle Command. I always started my. This is a game Jimiga, my friend Jimiga, shared with us. The Karen and Tangled Tentacles. This is the Thank You edition, 280. Start immediately. Hi Tom, I like I this live stream is a very out of the blue. It was not planned. I'm happy. Some of you is here even without. I have very some important info to share with you. This is a point and click game. Karen is the main character. You see that's the custom overlay, Commodore style. But there's a lot of overlays I want to show. The important things I want to tell you is the new device. You know, this image has the 3.3 emulator, which can allow you to save and load the states, the game states when you want, where you want. But if you are update to the very last version of the emulator, you will lose the possibility to map the controls, the keyboard on the controller. I don't like that thing, so I've reverted to the old version of 3.3. So I highly suggest to not update from source to the last version reservoir, because you will lost completely the options tab. I don't know why. So I revert back because you see the options window let you to set, for example, the space bar on the Y button. It is very important for Commodore 64 to use the space bar on your controller. So let's change the overlay. There's some overlays, all Commodore 64, because Amiga, you know, doesn't have support for the bezel. But I've included, for example, the Exodus set, which is CRT type overlays, the CRT folder, the Neon folder, if you like, the overlay I made for the Neon image, I've added here too. And scanline grids, those are very interesting. It's not an overlay in per se, it's only a level of fake scanlines, performance scanlines I call. So if is only if you want scanlines and not overlay. In fact, I suggest if you set the full HD screen, the emulator default output a full HD, I suggest to select the scanline 180 pixel, overlay opacity 1.0, and you see maybe you can see on the my shitty smartphone if there the scan lines, but there's only scan lines and not overlay. So you can call the visual keyboard with the Y button. The audio seems a little distorted. Okay, the audio is distorted. I have to figure out why. It's a pretty interesting game. And there's also the same set of the new Commodore 64, the 64. You see the image is the full size new edition of the mini console, which is not mini at all. It's like the original. Gizmo asks what is the best settings, and I cannot answer to that. You have to do some test when you got the image. I repeat, by default is output to Full HD resolution. You can set the shaders and the overlays to to make a more CRT type experience. If you don't like the resolution, you can allow the resolution it's HD ready or lesser. This is the same games which are is like artworks. Some of the image is not completed, of course. It's almost completed. I can see is around 90% of 90% completed. I've just set some artwork, and this is the set of the Commodore 64 Mini Avenger, Confusion, some obscure games, and some more way more popular game. Let's try Galencia, which should be one of the new games added to the Commodore 64. Let's change the overlay. Let's try the neon with this. The neon set. Look at this. There's two overlay with performance scale line 25 and 34 cents. If you want more more scale lines, just go for the 30. And if you want more light, more mild, 25. Let's try 25 in that case. Okay, so there's the you recognize the overlay from the Neo, which is a computer related overlay, so it fits with, even with Commodore. And there's some performance gain lines, so the performance are untouched. Hurt. Okay, it's a fork of Galaxy Galaga. Oh, nice explosion. Okay, move on with my little mascot. You know, I always play that. 1942. Armila joined the chat. Ciao, amico. You lost anything important? Don't worry, because the previous live stream was a disaster. That one is the real live stream of the image, because yesterday I have very lot of issues and errors is happened anything yesterday, but today is good. I must remember to save the overlay. Let's try another one. Some all the overlays I made I've added to the image, like that one. Okay, you see the oh, the artwork with the Tarican on the left and the project file starts on the right. Let's save that one. Remember to save the overlay override options and the option in the middle directory override. I already showed that. Arumila, are you there? I was talking about a very important information on the device emulator, because this assholes delete completely the options tab with the new version of the emulator. So if you update the emulator at last version, search version on RetroPie, you will lose the possibility to set the space bar on a Y button, for example, because this option is totally blank. So I reverted to a working version of the version of 3.3, but with the this function still enabled. I don't have any idea why they don't that, but absolutely don't update the emulator to the last version suits. Okay, until they resolve it, I hope. Let's keep an eye on the Discord server, because when the issue will be resolved, maybe do not update the emulator until then. There's also a version of the overlay with the fake scan line. NS means no scan lines, and there's the C64S, which means scan lines. And remember, there's still the off fake overlay. This is very important. If you want to disable the overlay, you have to set off, then save. Okay, this is the same version with the fake scan line. That one. The first 3.3 version is OK. Let's stick with that and don't update to the last version. Accidenti a loro. Ortacci soia. Ste teste di cazzo. Se non rovinano tutto, non sono contenti. If it work, why you have to break? Damn. So, do you have some suggestion for the game? I want to play some game, but I don't know what game. For reference, I can tell you the version of the 3.3 which is correct. Just compare the code of the emulator if is useful to you. around 4,000 of Commodore 64 games should be enough. Turrican, this is Turrican 3 is there's two Turrican 3, interesting. Okay, there's a D81 version and D64 because okay, are different. I will name it. There's two versions of Turrican 3, both are hacks, never released. One made by Protovision, and there's a demo, if I remember well, and another version. Okay, and we'll show another thing. Let's see together. That one should not load, if I remember well, because it's D81 format. So you have to set okay, no, it loads. Okay, it loads. I remember the old version of Vice doesn't load automatically the D81 format, which is a very interesting format because it works similar to the CRT. This is a very impressive homemade game. It's mesh designs. Let's sit together. Emily, use your soccer. Suggest me some game. We try later the Emily use soccer. Maybe I spoke too soon because it's not sure it works because I repeat this. No, ho sbagliato io. My bad. Let's try another Tariq entry game. I just made the wrong combination. The seed model. I don't remember if it was here or on controls or another menu. Oh, I was noticed there's more than one. Okay, the option seem disappeared. So maybe the 3.3 version of the emulator is capable of recognize all the file types. Maybe, I'm not sure, but before there's an option to set manually the D81 format. You have to change the drive type, but there's not anymore. This option is disappeared. The to drive is disabled. Okay, I remember this silhouette should be the Jamiroquai. Okay, you can start the level you want, basic, advanced. This is not a full game, it's just a demo. But consider that one like goodies. I hope you passed good holidays. Mangiato tanto, mangiato assai. Let's try another compilation, another overlay. This is the one of many overlay I made for the Commodore. Maybe I will set it as default. Why not? I'm not decided what overlay we set as default on the final release. But I like that one. Doesn't seem to work. Look how it's cool. You can decide to have a transparency on the visual keyboard or not. And you can select from no idea what is the C64C. Whoa! I like that. So white. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, all this. And that fucker messed the last version of the emulator. Damn. And the transparent version, that's. Oh, good. It's good. It's good. It's good. Dark transparent. It's very dark. So dark. Let's back to the default one because you can set with the Y button. You call the visual keyboard when with the visual keyboard still open. If you press the A button, the keyboard go to transparency. This game doesn't work. So sad. Maybe there's some problem with this game and the 3.3. Who knows? How many cubes you asked for? Hamlin Hughes International Soccer. I remember to have this on cartridge. Oh yeah, Mazinger. We have Mazinger. Yes, games is released. There's a website which release all the games which is not intended for commercial purpose, of course. Yes, guys, it's not the intention to include the whole Commodore 64 because the legit ones are around 22,000 of games. Legit ones. If you include all the hacks, the new ones, the number is huge. Okay, I had to figure out how to start the game because you remember if I had to press L to maybe, I'm not sure. Okay, look, it's very it's very computer type image. Plenty of options. Okay, I figure out more or less. I will not include the commercial games, so don't ask for that because you have to support the developers. Only free games and abandoned games, not new games. Oh, damn this game! Look at the graphic. It's incredible. Still impressed me today. The sprites are gigantic, and there's also the crowd. It's too violent. I don't think this is the international soccer I used to love. It's very similar, but I don't think it's that. Let's check. Okay, that one. International football is called, and this is the CRT version because it was a cartridge released. International tennis. Truder. EO. Incredible hard game. I remember that one. Let's try Tarican. Maybe the working ones. The first Tarican. Okay, so then we try some Amiga because of Commodore. Remember, there's also Amiga and that one. Over 2,000 of games. Do realize the oh, you have to wait a lot of time, save a lot of the and this there's not loading, no disk swap. New technology for old memories. Very impressive Tarican for the Commodore. And remember, you have the save states. If you just go to save states, save, okay, Then load. You see, fantastic. Remember, the save states when created are a little tricky to manage, and they take a lot of space. Remember, on 4,000 of Commodore 64 games, on the image there's around 5 gigabyte free, so you have plenty of space to make your experiment, but just use careful these save states, because I repeat, they are very expensive on space, very expensive, way more than the entire game, remember. Okay, let's move from Commodore to Amiga. And this is the selection I made. I repeat, the 30 games. It is the 32 version. There's the CD32 is not the real ISO experience, is a little different. Uh, it's not easy to explain. We explored with our Mila those old files. In fact, they are WH deload files, but adapted for the CD32. But there's not, for example, the CD music type quality, and there's not the videos, so it's not exactly the same as the CD32. Anyway, the Amy Berry, attenzione, is the very last version, the 3.0 11. It seems to work good, so I will keep this for now. The Shadow Fighter still need remember to set on display the frame skip option enabled. Otherwise, it's very laggy. Fantastic game! I love this game. One of the best beat 'em ups for the Amiga, for sure. All Italian game. Made by team called Naps. And you can also stretch the screen. I don't like that much. You have to disable the correct aspect ratio and set full screen. I don't like at all, but you can do that if you want to stretch horrible sprite. How is lame this character? You have a gun. Look, he shoots you with a gun. And my character has a very devastating move. This round kick. This image is for the PI 2 and 3 and 3B plus only, not PI 4. Remember, not PI 4. You cannot use it on PI4 because RetroPie is not even released officially, and this image is based on RetroPie 4.5. It not exists on PI4, so no way an image can run on it. I not consider the BDAS shit like that. I don't play on BDAS, only stable version, not interested. We are not for unfinished things, we are for full working things. Remember, no beta here. Yeah. It's a little lame I can win this match with the one fucking move. But it's like that. I'm a little lame. Ok, basta. Ok, basta. And Talking for Amiga, I remember it was a great porting of arcade. Yes, of course, they need time to work on it, so we have to wait. There's no other. If you are not patient, just play with the beta unfinished shit version. You have the choice. Do what you want, but don't expect to see the Z image based on not officially and beta version, because it's not going to happen. Nobody do this for work, so you have to be supportive. Ah, fermo. No. A gorilla with split. Split. I remember now. I'm stupid. Stupid! No! Stupid monkey! No! Mamma mia! Vabbè, niente. Niente! So good music. Look at the parallax on the Amiga. It was very expensive to do. The parallax level. Yes, you can shoot vertical and even diagonal. Basta, sono troppo difficili. Però bello. CRT, I think there's all the interesting CRT games released on Commodore 64, and aside the Commodore 64 selection, there's the cartridge selection. So all the games you see there, 300 of games, are all cartridge CRT type. And the most important release, Project Firestart, no doubt about that. A 4-disc release. Now one file, CRT file, and with the saves, maybe you will you will be able to win this game. Who knows? Maybe you can beat this game with the saves. Was very hard before. I love this game. The very father of survival horrors. I think one of the first games to introduce mechanics similar to Resident Evil's um, Alone in the Dark, very atmosphere, and very inspired by Aliens movie, of course. Very sci-fi. You are on this ship and you have to discover what happened, and very bad things happened, just like the yesterday live stream. Very bad things happened. The one now, level 2. Sì, ma vai però, vai. Go. Cose brutte. Danger. So blood, corpses is not going well, and it will be worse. Look the graphic of this game. There's not music, only effect. And you have the save state this time. You know, save state. Then load states, and then you back to the armory. Yeah. So those are the CRT games, the 64, the selection of the 64 full size edition is not out on USA, United States right now. I think is only released on Europe. Should be out this year, planned for 2020 on the United States. Don't underestimate the cartridge compilation. I show just one. I think there's more than 4,000 of games. Look, each file, how many games included? Incredible. Should be 20, 30. No idea. Arcana. I don't remember this game, to be honest. Saberwolf, yes, of course. Of course. Underwood with the dry. Shoe load immediately. Eccolo qui. More or less. Okay, I have to. In that case, you should press F3. So go to the visual keyboard and press F3. Okay, and then F7 to start. Oh my god, I remember this game. Look the jump. The jump was incredible. This is rare game. Ultimate play. Look at the bounce. Ultimate play the game is the rare of today. So very the history in the making. Oh no, the bounce is great. Why I back to the Commodore 64? Let's do some Amiga. And this is the Amiga 1200, the AG. We call 1200 for convenience because are all AGA games, so it should be the 4,000 Amiga, for example. The AGA, but I decided to to recognize this set of games under the Amiga 1200 umbrella. So all the AGA games released, Body Blows, Brutal, Chaos Engine. And remember, I've cut out all the text adventures because without the keyboard, I've included all games that intended for the joypad and some keyboard to support, but not text adventures. I just deleted text adventure in for Amiga and at Commodore 64. You will not find them on this image. Nigel Mansell. And the Amiga set 2197 games included some hacks are released game, but most of our legit games released through the years. Rise of the Dragon, Great Adventure. That one is a little bitch to start. The BIOS, the kickstarts have to be set properly. You look at the finished thing, but I have to tell the emulation set properly. The BIOS for the Amiga emulation is not a work in the park because all the kickstart had to be set properly on the folder, and some kickroms are not easy to find because basically most of them are copyrighted. So is a very insane that all after all these years we have the copyrighted BIOS. It's so stupid, but it's like that. So TZ made the dirty work for you, and you have only to enjoy. Not there. Fantastic music. Remember, there you can start some video. Mm. You have to investigate. That one was also released for the Sega CD. Risky Woods. That one is a little cut on the bottom. You see the hat is a little cut on the bottom. The effect is the same as God's. Oops. What happened? Look at that one has the parallax. Sprites are very good. And the jump animation seems Rygar. No. Wah! What? Okay, one of the if you after 5 minutes around there's the um, the box of the games like a show slideshow of box. There's not a video snaps because there's not space. It's a little image, 60 gigabyte image, so it fits on the little card. But there's not videos. But I prefer like that because, for example, on the Commodore, there's not all video available. So you have around 500 of videos on 4,000 of games, and most of games are without videos. A little better for Amiga. If you tried the King image, Amiga has almost all the videos, but the Commodore 64, no. So I prefer to have all the three mix type, which show the box on the left side, the logo on the right side, and a shot of the game on the bottom. 11 overall games for now. I think will be the final number too. So thanks for watching this new live stream of the Commodore Deluxe 60 gigabyte. You see the image is almost completed. It just it was fast to build because as I said, is based on the King Light. So expect to see this image very soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks Aromila. Thanks all the guys who joined the chat. Buonanotte e ci vediamo la prossima volta. Ciao ciao.